And we are back now for the second session, and here we'll cover the Infra4NextGeneration data. So everything that we've talked about, that Terry and Insa described, I'll tell you where you can find it and a bit more background information about that. And then we'll hear from our experts, policy experts from the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. We'll have some time for questions if there are any. So, sorry, let's see. My computer just decided to freeze. No? Okay, this is it. My name is Ruxandra Comănaru. As I said earlier, I work for the European Social Survey, and I will tell you a bit about the data. So the data for this project comes from the cross-national online survey, Kronos, online first survey, because it's not just an online survey. And this is a web panel, web and paper panel with respondents recruited from the European Social Survey. The survey data is collected at the individual level in various European countries. It is a cross-sectional and has some elements of longitudinal data as well. And so Kronos has had various iterations for the past 10 years. Kronos 1 and Kronos 3 include offline populations, while Kronos 2 focused only on online populations. So in Kronos 1, we experimented a little bit with giving participants tablets that could connect to the internet for the duration of the project for them to fill out the surveys. While in Kronos 3, we are using both online questionnaires and paper as well. The data is open and available to use for non-commercial purposes. So the ESS is a repeated cross-sectional survey. This is the European Social Survey. The sample changes in each wave. So every 2 years, we collect new data with new fresh sample of participants. And some questions are repeated. So this is the core module. It's a lot of questions are repeated in every wave of the European Social Survey, while other questions differ. These are the rotating modules, which are selected, 2 rotating modules in each wave from different kind of social research areas. And sometimes these ones are repeated as well, but not all of the questions. So let's say maybe half of the questions, 15 questions are repeated, while others are new ones. The temporal changes here can be tracked at the aggregate level. The Kronos panel is a cross-sectional panel where respondents are recruited from the ESS and are interviewed again in subsequent waves. There are different questions introduced in each wave, and there are some longitudinal component modules, especially on Kronos 2. And the great part about the Kronos panel is that because it recruits from the parent ESS survey, the data can be linked back to the ESS questions. So it's not yet a longitudinal panel, but we are now working on the next iteration of Kronos, hopefully soon, where there will be a longitudinal kind of set of questions that will be repeated at every wave. So Kronos 3, the Kronos that was repurposed to work for Infra4NextGen project, supports this project as well as another one, the So Green project, led by our colleagues at SHARE. And it takes place in 11 countries. It is an input harmonized and centrally administered survey, panel survey, with respondents recruited from ESS 10 and 11. It uses a mixed mode approach with web and paper self-completion questionnaires, where panelists are 18 years and older. And so far we have 8 waves in total. We're in the field with a 7th wave, and 5 of these waves were part of the Infra4NextGen project. So this is a little bit what I was saying about the different iterations of Kronos to date. So the first one was a pilot, recruiting participants from ESS 8. The second one recruited participants from ESS 10, which was our pandemic run. This is how we call it. That's why The Kronos panel was online only because we couldn't recruit people who were offline during the pandemic. And that one had cross-national waves and also country-specific waves. And Kronos 3 is the one that supports the Next-Gen EU themes, green, digital, healthy, strong, and equal, as well as the So Green project. So the cross-national survey 3, the Kronos 3 panel, includes 5 different waves of data collection, and each wave has 90 questions, about 18 questions per wave were for each one of the themes of the Next-Gen EU area. So that means that in total we have almost 100 questions for each one of the themes. So for health, for example, you have 18 in the first wave, 18 in the second, and so on till the fifth wave. The questions were developed by the Kronos team, academic and JRC experts together. We work to ensure that they are relevant both in terms of academic output as well as policy use. Some of the items were newly developed items, but other ones were used questions from existing surveys from different European research infrastructures. The countries that fielded and continue to field the ESS3 panel are Austria, Belgium, Czechia, Finland, France, Hungary, Iceland, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, and the UK. So these countries, basically, we recommend doing cross-national analysis with this data, also because at times, when you get to quite smaller questions, the questions that are more relevant for a smaller sample, you might not have enough power to compare, to do analysis at the national level. So this is how recruitment is done. So basically in ESS round 10, we recruited participants from Kronos 2. We found that they were quite engaged, and so we transferred them to Kronos 3 and also added new recruited participants from ESS round 11. So Kronos 3 participants are basically participants that are recruited from both of these rounds. Some of them have been on the panel for about 15 waves already. The fieldwork period for Infra4NextGen waves, it started in 2024. So as I said, our project started about 2 years ago. We started with a lot of energy to kind of gather all of these questions together to put them in a format in which they can be asked of European respondents. And so in September, we ran the first wave of data collection and continue to do so until June 2025. So about a year ago, we finished data collection for Infra4NextGen. The data was published a few months after it was collected. And so we have all 5 waves of data available, but also from the website, you can download a file with all of the waves combined. In terms of panel loyalty, so this is a graph showing the percentage of panelists who completed all 5 waves of Infra4NextGen over the percentage of active panelists. And we define an active panelist as those that stayed in at least one wave. So as you can see from this graph, our panel loyalty is quite high in the Kronos panel. It varies from maybe 45% in France to over 73% in Slovenia and Czechia. And they are quite engaged even now. We're in the 7th wave of data collection. They're still quite engaged in responding to our questions. So the Kronos panel tries to ensure representativeness by including both online and offline populations. So we use paper questionnaires, and the offline population is identified in the main stage ESS using a variable that we call net use oft, basically asking participants how often do they use the internet on different devices, whether for work or personal use. So the ones who answer every day, most days, and a few times a day, few times a week are automatically placed in the web respondents category. And those who say that they never use the internet, they are immediately put on the in the paper response group. However, those participants who say they only occasionally use paper, they are allowed basically to choose at the first wave data collection whether they prefer web or paper. With regards to response rate, so I already mentioned that the panel loyalty is quite high. We also have a very good overall response rate for all of the waves. I think in total it's about 60% response rate, including web and paper responses. As you see from this graph, there were some hiccups in the first waves. We started a bit slow in some countries, but this picked up from the second wave on and continued to stay quite high. So it's all of it. I mean, a lot of it is due to the national teams who work on collecting the data, who are very engaged with the project, and they have tried to maximize the response rates as much as possible, sometimes even calling respondents to get them to take part in the survey. And as you see today, our team for each one of the pillars is quite large. We bring together academic experts, the Kronos team and research fellows, so David, myself, and Julia, as well as the Joint Research Center experts. And we all try to work together to bring to ask the right questions for each one of the pillars. So we work together to construct and fill the survey items for Kronos 3. And in terms of questionnaire, this is an overview of the questionnaire content for the 5 waves of Infra4NextGen. As you see, it's quite a lot of different topics were covered, and we encourage you to explore this data. There's a lot of interesting things that can be found there. We've also run a couple of methodological experiments, some vignette experiments in wave 4 and 5, and those can be explored as well. So the green equals strong, digital, and healthy items have an equal space on the project. And as we've discussed earlier with Delia and Insa, there's quite a lot of things that we can look at across the different waves. So if you download the data, you can explore it by combining the different pillars as well. For the Make It Healthy topics, as you see from here, there are very different themes that were covered. So we looked a lot in the first wave. We checked out the access to healthcare topics, so access to GPs, to general practitioners, so like family medicine, to dentists, to specialist healthcare, mental health, but also we asked about hospital experiences. In wave 2, we explored health and the internet, so different services, information, and mental health. We looked at people's kind of use of unprescribed medicine, as well as leftover antibiotics, medicine use, and also we looked at some of the cancer risks. In wave 3, we asked people to self-assess their health, both mental and physical health. We asked them about different health problems and health in the workplace. While in wave 4, we looked at different commercial determinants of health, like alcohol, cigarettes, high-calorie snacks, but also health behaviors, alcohol, cigarettes, and snacks. So you can look at the determinants of health as well as the behaviors. And I think Insa already discussed some of this a bit earlier. And lastly, in wave 5, we looked at private mental health access, the cost of healthcare, exercising behavior, and other mental health issues that people might have. Sorry. Okay. So where is all of this data? We have a lot of data, and a lot of it can be downloaded from the European Social Survey website. And I will give you a demonstration to show you exactly where all of the data is. You can also explore the Chronos data online. And again, I will show you how to do this in a second, how to do this on the website. You can use the variable viewer to kind of give you some univariate distributions, or you can use the analysis tool online, where you add two different questions and can look at bivariate distributions. You can explore the data by theme, to look at the different indicators organized by the Next Generation EU pillars. But again, very important to remember that, when we look at different waves, different rounds of ESS, so ESS1 and ESS2, for example, when we download the data, because this is cross-sectional data, if we want to merge it together, we get kind of like a larger data set. But if we look at participants in Chronos waves, we can merge them. We can look at the different waves, like across the waves, but also we can merge it back to their ESS round 10 and 11 responses. So this is quite a valuable tool that you can use. So it's more like kind of a longitudinal approach. There are useful documents online. There are the user guides for Chronos 3, there's a guide for weighting, and we recommend, of course, using weights. But now let me just quickly show you how to do this online. So here we are. Let me just go back to the ESS, actually. So this is the European Social Survey landing webpage. If you click at the top, in the middle, there's a data button. Click on that one. It will take you to the ESS data portal, and you click on this, and it redirects, as you can see, to a SICT. SICT is our data archive, our colleagues in Norway who archive and process all of the data that we produce. So this is the data portal. You can search for different variables here. So let's say mental health. And then you get a list of the different results of different mental health questions that have been asked both in ESS and Chronos and all of the other kind of related projects. You can look at the different publication years, so kind of restrict your search, and maybe also select the ESS and Chronos, and see what you have. But another way to do this, data portal, is to go straight to the Chronos data. So when you click on that, you get the 3 different iterations of Chronos. The one that is of interest now for the Next Gen EU themes is Chronos 3. So here you are. And here you have a breakdown of the Chronos 3 data by the different waves. So going from wave 1 to wave 5, these are the Infra4NextGen waves. Wave 6 is a green wave, so it's more focused on the green transition. If you click on any of them, you can either go to the main data set, or you can get the study documentation where you can read a little bit about the particular wave. The contributors, these are all of our academic experts for all of the pillars, and all of the other people who have worked on it, including the national coordinators, as well as the publication date. Here you have issues like kind of information about data access, the universe and scope, basically when the data was collected, what was the time period, the geographical unit. Here are the different fieldwork documents, the source questionnaires, the different national versions. If you're interested in the translated versions, you can find them here, as well as the letters to the respondents, a user guide, and the code book. And here you can find the different data country documentation. So again, the fieldwork period is the same. The data was collected exactly the same time in all of the different countries, the response rates per country, as well as the case count, right? Now, if we browse by country, you can see that all of the countries took part in all of the waves to date. Sorry. And you can explore also the data by theme. So here you can find the Make It Healthy data. It's the first 5 waves. Once you click on it, you get an overview of all of the questions when they were asked in each one of the waves, right? So this is all of the questions for health. And let's say if we look, let's say for mental health. Okay, this doesn't seem to work. Sorry about, oh no, it did, sorry. So you end up with 16 variables, and you can see how they've been asked in different waves and the different questions that are asked here. So clicking on the little arrow takes you to the variable viewer. So for example, subjective mental health in general, the question was, how is your mental health in general? And here you get an overview, a breakdown by countries on the different responses that participants gave to the mental health question, ranging from very good to very bad. And you can see the comparison between different countries. There's also a map that can be explored. This tool is particularly interesting if you just want to explore the data a little bit before you decide what you want to download. You can also do a bit of analysis. So let's see the subjective mental health data. And let's see the variables, other variables in Make It Healthy. Maybe we could ask something about work. So how often your job involves weekend work within the usual schedule, maybe, or worked outside the usual schedule. Let's see this one. So again, a brief overview of an analysis by country of mental health in general, by working outside the usual schedule over the last 4 weeks. So again, you can see the country differences. You can look at the individual countries' breakdowns and explore the data like that. And here you have the different questions and variables that were asked. So I encourage you to have a look at the data to try to see what analysis can be done, what are the different variables that can be used, and so on. You can use this button here to download the data. And here is the citation as well. So how to cite the data. So just a bit of a recap. So you go to the CESSDA portal, select the cross-national survey Kronos, and we're interested in Kronos 3. And you can browse by wave, by country, or by theme, downloading the data files by theme to cover all of the waves, or all the waves and all of the themes. The different formats that can be used to download the data are CSV, SPSS, or Stata. And here is the Make It Healthy pillar. You can use the variable viewer. As I said, you just look for one of the variables that you're interested in, and then it runs a quick analysis, descriptive kind of univariate analysis of the results. Or you can use the online analysis tool, so comparing the different questions and variables, and this is what you would get by using this tool. So this allows you to just play a little bit with the data before you decide exactly what you want to download and what you want to look at in more depth, maybe. Or if your maybe statistical skills are not so developed, you can definitely use this. All of the graphs can be shared easily. They can be downloaded and shared on social media if you want, or in reports. So we encourage you to explore that.